Erasmus Plus K2 Project Covimo is an opportunity window for changes in tertiary education. The COVID 19 pandemic has changed a lot in our lives. Tertiary education is one of the areas that have been hit hard. At the same time, the pandemic has become a driving force for changes in higher education, and for this reason, educational projects are currently being tackled, the purpose of which is also to increase the resilience of university to similar situation. One of these projects is the Erasmus KA2 Covimo project. Can you tell us more about this project?
So the Covimo project is a special project based on a call from the National Agencies of Erasmus. And it is a project of 9 universities that are all focusing in life sciences. Those are universities from the Czech Republic, Austria, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Moldova, and Slovenia. And these universities that were prior to the project already cooperating in the KC network, a network of Central and Southeast European universities, looked at the COVID crisis in a way that we were looking for the new opportunities that arised from this COVID-19 pandemic. And now we are designing ways that help the universities how to transition to online education, and now even how to transition back to regular education and what we can take out from this crisis.
Okay, so can you tell us what are the new virtual mobility tools introduced in the Covimo project?
Yeah, so we tried to combine, in principle, 3 different approaches to let people experience virtual mobility. So we started with the, I would call it, most simple approach, which is 360-degree images, which can be implemented into, for example, Moodle learning environment via the H5P plugin. So in principle, all the universities who run a Moodle can make use out of this technology using 360-degree images and enrich them with additional information, quizzes, and so on, and provide this kind of desktop virtual mobility. The second kind of virtual mobility that we are providing, or where we have been developing content, was the augmented reality. That means that you augment the real environment in that you are situated with some 3D objects that you can explore. So, for example, in the Covimo project, we developed a chainsaw daily maintenance routine where you can disassemble and reassemble a chainsaw. Yeah, so something that people usually don't have a lot of access to. Yeah, so many people don't have access to a chainsaw for training purposes. So we thought it's a good idea to provide this experience. The third most immersive way of a virtual mobility is the real virtual reality experience with Google Quest 2 glasses. So you're really immersed. You put on the glasses and you are immersed in an environment. And we created a student cafe and a learning hall in the mountains where you can enter as an avatar with Google glasses on and experience the other avatars of people and also the environment. The idea is that it is also a socially immersive experience for people. So they have a real social experience during that time.
Okay, so where and from whom did you gather the best practices that were important to this manual?
To create a useful and reasonably complete manual of good practices, we decided to collect information and examples from all possible sources we have access to. Of course, I mean the sources of good trust. So we ask our teachers, our students, we ask our partners from Covimo project to do the same at their universities. So I do believe that it is complete and can be very useful for all interested parties.
Very interesting. So, do you think that the manual of good practices produced by the Covimo project will be adopted and used by universities?
Yes, because creating this repositorium of good practices, we made use of most of teachers' and students' remarks. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that this booklet will be used not only by our university, not even only by our partners from the Covimo project, but also by other universities and high schools.
Okay, were there more overall positive or negative examples of reactions to particular circumstances?
Well, actually, according to our questionnaire results, I cannot say that there were more negative or positive results, but we have results which are anyway good. So, as our previous assumption was that the degree and quality of preparedness of the universities would be a key factor in the reactions to the unexpected circumstances, and that was proven. And we also assumed that the university's reaction to pandemic was part of how their countries reacted to the pandemic, and that was also proven. What made us surprised, so we can say that it was an interesting outcome, that most of the universities or half of the universities never introduced the suspension of learning during the pandemic. And another very interesting result was, and I can say that it was the only one that can be called negative, is that the international relations staff had no knowledge about the inclusivity of their reaction to the pandemic. So they didn't really know whether their used methods were inclusive enough.
Okay, thank you. And do these guidelines only apply to life sciences universities, or can they be adapted for other fields or universities?
Okay, they can be adapted to any university. What can be called specific to life sciences universities, namely agricultural universities, is our good example of the community garden of students. But the recommendations that we created for the scenarios are quite general enough to be adopted by any university. So briefly, they're about how to educate your staff, how to handle risk and crisis management, what to invest in previously or before a crisis, and how to build up and strengthen your networks.
Okay, so what are the new learning materials based on? Can you explain their purpose?
So we looked into the barriers for teaching online and the barriers for learning online. And as has been said, students and staff had problems with several things when they had to transition to online. And we, based on these barriers that we found, tried to design learning materials that would facilitate the inclusion into online education.
Who and how can develop learning materials be used?
So students and staff are all used to using the Moodle platform, which is a standard educational platform used by most of the universities, and they can access a specific module that has been designed for staff and a different module for students, where they find hints on how to facilitate their teaching or learning. On one side, it can be new or specific ways tackling didactical approaches in teaching, but as well in testing, and how to use new digital tools, the Microsoft Teams, and other platforms that are common at universities. And for students, it's also about the services that the universities can offer to them, some of the legal and security issues that are there, and also different kind of psychological counseling that can be offered by universities.
Thank you for your answers.